There is a very famous dress that absolutely screams Halloween, Hammer horror movies, and Dracula. Also, I feel like for me, there may have been, or may not, have been some inspiration from the vamps of the silent film era. If you want to find out what that dress is, keep watching. Hello, and welcome to Killer Kitsch Lizzie, my weird little world where I like to knit and sew, do crafty things, and make a Halloween themed dress every year. Actually, make more than one Halloween thing to wear every year, and I actually don't just wear it in October, I wear them all year long because why not? I love Halloween, I love gothic everything, and I have a weird dark sense of humor, so my wardrobe, my Halloween themed wardrobe, fits perfectly for me all year long. So, what was I talking about in the intro? So unfortunately, this company no longer is in existence. So there is a very popular dress that I'm sure is going for a huge fortune now, if you could find one, called the Vampire's Wife Dress. And I'm actually really sad that the company has folded. I think the pandemic might have, if I remember correctly from reading an article, news article, I think the pandemic kind of helped with putting a knife in them, a nail in the coffin, so to speak, which is really unfortunate because it was my absolute favorite style of dress. And for a really long time now, I've been wanting to make my own, but I just hadn't gotten to it. Mostly because I was, trying to find a pattern that would work, but also give it my own sort of twist to it. And then finally I decided recently, you know what, if I don't figure this out, I'm never going to make one. And I really want one. And decided I'm just going to self-draft, like do all my own pattern cutting, create my own. It was also time for me to start creating my own pattern blocks. So I did all that. However, the actual dress itself became more of a important thing for me to make because recently I've gotten back into trying to find movies of my all-time favorite silent film actress. So, and this all came up, we had a discussion with friends. So, monthly we go to, well, almost monthly, we go to what's called the Silent Review, which is at a local rep house, rep theater, and they show silent film. And also the Silent Film Festival is another thing that is doing more regular movies at another independent theater. And there's a group of people we go with, and we had started talking again about Theda Bara. So I'm going to read a bit about her. I'm going to so you know who she is. But I've always been intrigued by her. Unfortunately, she got typecast as sort of like a vamp in films, but that typecasting is something that inspires a lot of people. I know there's been a lot of actresses that have been inspired by her from the silent film era up to today, right? So, she really was an inspiration for this dress, which I'm going to reveal at the end of the video. You're going to see me wearing it in all its glory. And I got to tell you, I'm really proud of this dress. So, yeah, so what I did was, to prepare to make this dress, I finally created my own dress bodice block. Now I have the Hassel one, but I wanted to do a separate one. So I did that. I created a sleeve block. And with those two things, I made the dress. Now, there are a few things that are slightly different here and there, which I'll talk about. And that has to do with the fact that I haven't created a skirt block yet. That is the next thing you're going to be seeing probably in November, me doing that. Anyways, I'll touch on that a little bit later. But I'm going to have a little drink from my bat mug. I tend to lose my voice when I'm talking too much. But first I have notes, but of course. But first I just want to talk a little bit about who Theda Bara was. So now I'm reading the notes because it's just easier, and I've taken snippets from a few different sources, and I'll have all the information over on Patreon. So Theda Bara was born Theodosia Burr Goodman, July 29th, 1885. So her and I almost share a birthday. We're a couple of days apart, not year-wise, because I'd be ancient, but day-wise. So she's a fellow Leo. In Cincinnati, Ohio, and she passed away on April 7th, 1955, in Los Angeles. She was an American silent film and stage actress. Theda Bara was one of the more popular actresses of the silent era and one of cinema's early sex symbols. Her femme fatale roles earned her the nickname The Vamp, short for vampire, but in this case meaning a seductive woman and not Dracula. Bara's early films were shot along the East Coast, so Hollywood hadn't quite been established as it is today yet. So the film industry for a very long time was, in New Jersey, New York City, sort of in the East Coast part of the United States. And then eventually when they realized the weather was more consistent in California, that's when they started to move everything to California. That way they could shoot all year long. So there are a lot of silent films shot in California. I'm not saying there weren't. But in the early days of silent cinema, a lot of it was in the East Coast. So at the time, the film industry was primarily in New York and New Jersey, one of the main studios being Fox Studios. When the studios began moving to the more desirable Los Angeles due to the weather being more promising for shooting all year long, which I just explained, sorry, I apologize. Theda relocated to LA, and the first film she shot there was the epic Cleopatra, so that is 1917. Unfortunately, there aren't any known prints of the movie remaining, however, there are many movie stills. I'll touch on why there aren't any copies of that in a minute. Theda quickly became typecast as a vamp. Much of the reason was due to her exotic looks and guaranteed box office popularity for Fox Studios. Eventually, she tired of this and let her contract with Fox run out. She then tried theater, but critics were quite cruel to her, so she made her way back to Los Angeles and film. Sadly, her film career never picked up again, and after only a few more movies, she retired, but not before making a film directed by Stan Laurel for Hal Roach. Stan Laurel from Laurel and Hardy. Even then, she was still typecast as the vamp. But this is the saddest thing of all. In 1937, a fire at Fox Nirate Film Storage Vaults in New Jersey absolutely destroyed most of they're silent films, because in that day, that's what it was shot on, and it was extremely flammable. That included 40 silent films that Theda made between 1914 and 1926. There are still 6 prints that exist to this day, which include The Stain from 1914, A Fool There Was from 1915, East Lynne from 1916, The Unchastened Woman, sorry, from 1925, and 2 short comedies for Hal Roach. So, in addition to these, a few film clips remain in fragments. Oh, sorry, going back to Cleopatra, I forgot about this. There is a 1-minute clip from Cleopatra, which I think was found not that long ago, if I remember correctly. Somebody please correct me in the comments for this. I should have wrote this down, actually, because I do actually know. A clip from The Soul of Buddha, and a few other unidentified clips that are featured in a documentary, Theda Bara at William Fox, 2001. Most of the clips can be seen in in another documentary, The Woman with the Hungry Eyes, from 2006. I've not watched either of these, and I would love to get my hands on them. I'm going to see if my library has DVDs of this. Or I'm sure I can find it somewhere else. But so over on Patreon, so there are a few of the movies that are on YouTube, actually. So I'm going to put links. I'm going to do a full article like post over on Patreon, and I'm going to include the links to these movies over there. So on YouTube, and they're not great copies, but they're watchable. So the little bit of footage from Cleopatra is over there. East Lynne is there. And these next 2 movies, they don't have music with them. So what we like to do here is when we find a silent film, we find music from our very large vinyl library of music that we think will go with that film, and then we just play our own music. So, and I've got to tell you, like, majority of the time, it lines up. So I suggest you do the same. East Lynne, which has no music, and The Unchastened Woman also has no music. And the reason for that, if you come across a lot of silent films on YouTube or wherever that have not been retouched or remastered in any way, they probably don't have music with them, and that's because, not always, but the majority of the time, films were, the music score was done live. A lot of the times the music score was done specifically by the musician, like the actual musician would just make their own music up for the movie, not always written down, because they would practice ahead of time watching the movie and practice to figure out their score. Unfortunately, so a lot of that music is lost. There are still some sheet music out there from actual movies. So, but anytime you see a silent film restored, it is usually modern musicians putting their own twist on what they think the music would have been. So yeah, so I suggest if you come across any silent films that don't have music, put your own to it. I gotta tell you, sometimes though, the best music to play with a silent film is metal, especially metal from like the 70s. I gotta tell you, spectacular. Anyway, so I just wanted to give you a little bit of background on who she was, because she inspired this dress. She, being a film star, like, silent movies were like, still kind of at the tail end of the Edwardian era, and then moving into the 1920s, where they're more flappers and things like that, right? So the costuming at the beginning of silent film era is going to definitely be inspired by Victorian or Edwardian, or actual clothing of that that time, right? And for me, the Vampire's Wife dress very much has that sort of Victorian Edwardian feel to it. Very kind of gothic looking as well, and that's why she inspired it for me, because, and I'm gonna show photos of her coming up here, um, before I get into talking more about the dress, but I'm gonna do a little montage, but it was a very Edwardian, very sexy look. So yeah, let me just do that right now. I'm just gonna show you a very fast montage of her photos. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. She was so beautiful, and just I know for actors it is hard to get typecast, but she was the perfect vamp. She was the ultimate vamp. I know a lot of my friends and other lovers of that period of silent film 100% agree. Okay, so the next little bit you're going to see, I'm just going to go through, it's not a tutorial at all. It's just some clips of me going through from the toile to the finished dress, just how I got there. It's not going to be very long. And then at the end of that, you're going to see me wearing the dress. Onto the clips. So I have all my supplies ready to go. So I have a toile fabric. This is a poly cotton, but it's the same weight as the cotton I'm going to use. And the reason I'm using this is it is less expensive. First of all, it's the same weight as most of the fabrics I use for dresses in most cases. So I use this for toiles, and I try to pick colors that are not attractive. So I know that they're my toiles. This is also going to be used in a couple more projects that are not garments. So I have the paper, pen, pencil, scissors, variety of rulers, and both of my front and back bodice sloper, and a sleeve sloper, and as always, a measuring tape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trace all of these out as is, and then the bodice, I'm not going to be making any changes, although I am going to do a toile, and there's a possibility I might need to make change the darts slightly, the waist darts slightly, but I'm going to wait until I do the toile for that. And then if I end up doing that, then I'll just come back and change it on the pattern piece. And the sleeve, I'm going to be doing a puffy top sleeve, because this is my version of a Vampire's Wife dress. It's not going to be 100% like the Vampire's Wife dress that you see. I am putting my own little twist on it because, well, you'll see as this goes. So I'm going to have to do a slash and spread to open up the top of the sleeve so I can get that puffy effect. And I'm going to be doing not the smallest neckline, but the next down, because as we all know, I can't stand anything tighter on my neck. Okay, so this is not a tutorial. This is I'm just going to take you through the steps of how I get to the end result. Because you're going to want to have your own sloper, or you can use other pattern pieces that work for you. Like if you already have a bodice that fits you well, you can maybe just alter the neckline on it. If you have a sleeve with that bodice already, you know, alter it to put a puffy top on it. You don't have to make, like, create your own sloper or anything like that. You can just, or use, if there's a dress pattern out there that's close, you know, just change the sleeves up or whatever. This is the front and back bodice. I have outlined in black marker just so you can see it, otherwise you're not going to see it. And what I did in this case, now, because I've already done the slopers and I'm doing this directly from the sloper as opposed to having like a MIDI block or something like that where I have to make changes or changes to this, just a tip, line your sloper or block up somewhere, like either at the bottom, either at the armholes, the neck, something. So in my case, I use the outer corners of the arm side as the place that I lined up. Yeah. Anyway, so those are now traced. The front is going to be cut on the fold. The back is going to be 2 pieces. Actually, I should note those. Note that, I forgot to. And I also make notes on here like what the seam allowance is and a reminder on both pieces that I have to double check the accuracy of the darts when I do the toile. I'm actually going to add the thing I forgot, how many pieces to cut, and move on to the next. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to draft neck facings. So that'll be a separate step. Anyways. Okay, hopefully you can see the pencil okay. It's getting really warm back here, so I'm trying to speed things up a bit. So what I did was, at the top of the sleeve cap, I raised it by 5 centimeters, which is about 2 inches. And then from the center, I did 3 slash lines. Each are 2 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch apart. Drew those all the way down to this line. Now this line goes from one corner of the sleeve cap over to the other. However, this one's a little bit higher than the other one, so I made sure the line was straight. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to slash down to the line, and I'm going to leave a hinge for each one. And I'm going to come across to where these lines end and leave a hinge, and then open it up. So I'm done. So I realized from the middle part, I should have cut it from the bottom up. I cut from the top down. It doesn't matter because I was able to move the 2 side pieces out to where I was going to put it anyway. And then I just guesstimated how to round the top of this. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, I'm hot. I'm tired. And then what I did was I went back with the block or the sloper, and I redrew the arm side at the bottom, just because I still want that to match up with the dress pattern pieces, right? So, yeah, and I'm just, try to match up that part as the best I could as well, though, but it's gonna gather at the top, so I'll make it fit. It will fit. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, I'm hoping that's enough of a poof. Again, I'm going to be doing a toile. If it's not enough of a poof, then I'll open it up even more. Yeah, anyways, so that is the sleeve, and I have the, I still need to cut them out, but I have the 2 bodice pieces. Now, I'm going to be not doing a straight skirt because I'm still working on my block for that, and I want to get this done sooner than later. So the skirt that's going to be going on this is possibly going to be just a lightly gathered skirt. Now, I have been trying to find vampire's wife dresses that have a gathered skirt. I thought I found one at some point and kept a picture, and I can't find it. So maybe that was just in my imagination. But again, this is going to be my version of the Vampire's Wife dress. And the other two things I need to do is I'm going to do some kind of a ruffle at the bottom. So I need to figure that out. And I'm going to be putting some kind of ruffle around the neck. It's either going to be ruffle or lace. Now, I need to find soft, very soft lace because I'm okay on my wrists, but my neck, I can't deal with anything scratchy or tighter on my neck. So I'm hoping to find a really nice soft lace. So I'm on the hunt for that. If not, worst case, I'm just going to make a very narrow ruffle around the neck. Okay, so that is it for this. I'm moving on to cutting out the toile. So here is just the bodice part of the toile. I did the initial pattern and then gave this a try on. And a couple of things. I forgot to make sure that the shoulder seams matched up. So I had to let me just turn this around quickly. Add a piece to the back to raise up the neckline at the shoulder seam and a bit at the back, and hopefully that will focus a bit better. But then I accidentally added too much, so I've had to scoop back out a bit of the back of the neck so I can get this over my head. It's fine now. I've just basted the back up for now. This fits me fine. It's comfortable. Also, once I put I think I'm just going to do a facing. I was going to do fully lined, but I think I might just go back to doing a facing. That's going to go down 5/8 of an inch, so that's going to give me a bit more room in the neck. And then the next thing I did was trying it on. This was like way too long in my shoulders because I realized that in my bodice block sloper, I have two arm endings for the shoulder and at the armhole, and one is more for coats because they're going to be thicker material, and again, they'll probably have to get adjusted up, but it was way too long, so I cut off a bunch. So that fits me perfectly now. Now I'm gonna be putting the sleeves in next, so I might have to adjust I'm gonna probably have to adjust the pattern piece for the sleeve. This hits me perfectly at my natural waist. I know it doesn't look like it's fitting Bunty very well because I need to pat her out properly to match my body. What else did I do? I think that was it, actually. Those were the changes I made. So now I'm gonna try putting in the sleeves, and I'm probably gonna have to adjust those pattern pieces to match the armholes better, but I just want to base them in to initially make sure the armhole's big enough, because if it's not, I'll have to scoop it down a bit there. I think it is. Pretty sure it's fine, but we won't know until we put the sleeves in. The sleeves are on. I didn't actually end up having to adjust the sleeve pieces. They fit perfectly. The only thing I had to do was I had to lengthen the area of gathering. I had it too short, so I just need to update that on my pattern piece. The one thing I am worried about, and it's an easy fix, is this staying erect. So what I'm going to do is I have tulle. I also have organza, but I think tulle will be stiffer, the tulle I have. If not, I can buy some tulle and just put it in there to just keep that sort of, sorry, my phone keeps focusing in and out. And put it in there just to stiffen that up and keep that up, the poofle. So yeah, the length of the sleeves comes to the right place, and yeah, as I said, this is hitting me at the waist where it's supposed to hit me. Very happy with this, very, very. And the fit of the bodice now that I fixed the shoulders and the back. I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to do another block for this specific style of bodice. So anyway, that makes me very, very happy. Next up, I just need to figure out what I'm going to do for the neck and the arm ruffles. I already know what I'm going to do for the skirt. I'm going to see, the next day or two, I'm going to see if I can get lace. And I want to get soft lace for around my neck and my wrists, or around my arm. These are 3/4 sleeves. I'm okay. I don't care if as a matter of fact, I think the lace that's going to go on top of the ruffle on the bottom should be slightly stiff. Not too stiff, but so that one I don't care because it's not touching my skin. The lace that's touching my skin, I want it to be soft. I feel like it's going to be uncomfortable otherwise. So those are the next things I'm figuring out, is how much the pattern pieces for the ruffle around the neck, and the pattern piece for the ruffle around the arms, because I've already cut out the ruffle pattern piece. It's already ready to go, and the lace is going to be probably very similar length, right? So, all right. This was the thing that was going to be the most amount of work, and it's done. On to the ruffles. And I'm back. I hope you enjoyed that. So, I'm very proud of this dress. I self-draft a lot of stuff, but more in the case I'm like using like things like Haslam or whatever, right? But this is 100% from scratch. I created the blocks from scratch because going forward I want to do more pattern cutting from the blocks I've created, and I've got more blocks coming up. Like there's going to be a skirt block, a midi block I want to do because I want to do coats, and other blocks as I think about it. Just to work a basis to work on other pieces for garments, right? But with this specific style of dress, I want to do like with the big puffy sleeves, I want to do a couple of tops, as well as I'm going to do a short sleeve version of that dress, maybe a less puffy sleeve. I'm not sure yet. I'm working on the sleeve part, but my Yule dress is going to be using the bodice block and the sleeve block, and hopefully I'll have the skirt block done. I'll definitely have the skirt block done by then. So yes. So that is going to be, there's going to be other variations of that dress. I would love to do, well, I 100% want to do a black dress, but I would love to do a black velvet dress. Unfortunately, velvet is very expensive here. But if I can find velvet on sale, I will definitely grab some, and then I'm going to do a black velvet version of it. And like the same style, right, with the 3/4 sleeve and the ruffle at the bottom. I might even like at that point incorporate maybe some lace or something. But I'm really happy how it came out. I went from like, there's another video coming up shortly, I think maybe after this video, where sorry, that was my phone going off, where I appropriate actually a howling wolf. Yeah, so the next video, because I do shoot a couple of videos at a time usually, so it was shot prior to this one. That dress, the dress in that video is a huge disappointment. Anyways, this one, I'm telling you, if you want a huge confident boost in like creating garments, draft your own blocks. They're specific to your measurements. Use those blocks going forward for pattern cutting. I gotta tell you, it will lift you up. That's all I gotta say. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Before I go on any longer, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll go and watch some of these Theda Bara movies. I am back on the hunt to see if we could find more. I know somebody out there has them. They might not even realize they have these movies because there's been so many silent films that have been found in the last decade and restored. People just happen to find them in their basement, their attic, their garage. Somebody dug up their patio, I think it was, and there was a whole bunch of films down there. It's like somebody buried them and then put a patio on top. Anyway, yeah, and if you have a local theater or any theaters near you showing silent movies, go watch them. I'm telling you, you will become just as addicted as I am. They are so beautiful. The innovation behind them, the creativity behind them, the writing, just do it. If you can find them, do it. Anyways, as I said, I hope you enjoyed this movie. I got movies on the brain now. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Please comment below. Nice comments only. Do you like silent movies? If you could let me know that. Have you never watched them? Let me know that. And please, maybe this will inspire you to go watch them. Do you know anything about Theda Bara? Yeah. And please subscribe. I would love it if you subscribed. You'd make me very, very happy. Anyways, until next time, stay kitschy.